right, hello and welcome to another Expert Inside interview. My name is John Golden from SalesPOP, online sales magazine and Pipeliner CRM, joining you as usual from a sunny San Diego. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Michael Barbarita, who is in lovely Cape Cod, Massachusetts. How are you doing, Michael?
Fantastic. How are you, John?
Fantastic. And Michael has owned and operated retail, manufacturing, and service companies over the last 30 years. One of the retail companies operated, Ski Town USA, grew from 2.5 million to 8 million in less than 5 years, which is an amazing achievement for anybody who knows how difficult it is to get over those thresholds. One of the products he managed was a cookies to scoop frozen cookie dough and was featured on QVC Home Shopping Network and selected as one of the top 20 products in the state of Massachusetts in 1997. And so what we're going to talk about is your strategies for what your competition isn't doing, the conversion formula. So first of all, Michael, tell me a little bit about where you came up with the conversional formula. Where did it come from?
Well, it came from my book, Powerful Business Strategies. I was doing research for the book, and I had to go all the way back to 1931 to discover that the key to successful marketing is getting into the mind of the prospect. But, how do you do that? And so that's what led us to the conversion formula, because to get into the mind of the prospect, you have to understand the problem the customer has it doesn't want, and the solution they want they can't find. So with the way to get into the mind of the customer being those two components, we produced or generated the conversion formula. And the conversion formula is simply a formula that's used to convert prospects into sales. It could also be used to convert prospects into your sales process and then convert them into sales using the same formula. But the formula, it can be presented in many forms, not just oral, not just in video, just in networking situations, all constantly you can use the conversion formula, and you should use the conversion formula.
Okay. So quickly go through the formula, and then I'll dive in with some detailed questions.
Excellent. So the conversion formula is a 4-step formula. It needs to be followed in the exact order, otherwise it doesn't work. It's sort of like water is H2O. 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. If I gave you 1 part hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, you don't have water. So it's very similar. The conversion formula is actually a formula. So the first step, it's a 4-step process. The first step is called Captivate. And it's a headline. And it describes the problem that the customer has and doesn't want. Once again, you're going to see that we're going into the mind of the customer. So that first step, Captivate, it's a problem. It's the first thing that you should say or that a prospect sees when they come in contact with your brand. The second step is what we call Fascinate. This is the solution to the problem that they can't find. So Captivate is the problem. Fascinate is the solution. That's the first 2 steps of the conversion formula. And then the third step is you have to educate the prospect and explain why your solution is superior to the competitors. And then finally, you have to hit them with the offer, the close. And the offer has to be so compelling that the prospect can't turn it down.
Right.
And there's essentially 5 components to a compelling offer, if I could just go through those.
Sure.
Because I don't want to leave the audience, anybody can say, well, you need an offer that's so compelling that a customer can't refuse it, right? Okay. So first of all, there's 5 components to a compelling offer. Number 1 is scarcity and urgency. That's one. That scarcity is we only have 3 left. Urgency is this offer ends on Friday.
Right.
The second the second component of a compelling offer is a risk reversal, where the seller in the transaction takes most or all the risk. When I was in the ski business, the problem the customer had was they never really knew if the ski they were being sold by some hotshot ski salesperson was the right ski for them until they got it up on the mountain and tried it out. So we implemented what we call the ski guarantee. No one would do this, and no one still does it today, and they should. Ski the ski 3 times, you don't like it, bring it back for a brand new pair and keep bringing it back until we get it right. We sold 8,000 pair of skis the first year we implemented it, a 25% increase from the previous year, only 8 came back.
Right.
Next year, we sold 11,000 pair, 14 came back. The customer just wanted a great ski experience. They didn't want to
Mhm.
screw the retailer, so to speak.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And that's what everybody thinks. Everybody thinks that the customer is out to, put one over on them. And that's really not the case at all.
Well, no,
So
don't
that's
you
number
want
two is, yeah.
when you purchase something, you want it to do what you thought it was going to do. You want to be excited about it. You don't want to be bringing it back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that ski guarantee solved the problem that the customer had. They
Yeah.
didn't really know if the ski that was being sold was the right ski for them, and we guaranteed it was the right ski for them. Then number three is adding more value to a product or service. You really have to understand with this offer component that you have to understand the long-term value of a customer. And let me give you an
Mhm.
example. When I was in the frozen cookie dough business, the problem the customer had was that they didn't want to waste valuable oven space baking cookies. It was always a secondary or tertiary
Mhm.
component of their menu. So what we did is we gave them a free convection oven with every opening order.
Mhm.
Now, the long-term value of a customer was $5,000. The opening order averaged 50. The cost of the convection oven was 200. So with every opening order, I got $50,
Mhm.
which the gross profit was 50% or $25, and I gave away 200. But because I understood the long-term value of a customer, that was an awesome deal for me. It
Mhm.
solved the problem, right? Like I always go back to that. It solved the problem that the deli had, or whatever the customer had, which was wasting valuable oven space baking cookies. And by the way, they got to bake other stuff in the convection oven
Sure.
too that they
Of
found
course.
very valuable. Um, so that's adding more value. So we added value to our opening cookie dough order by giving them a free convection oven. Number four is packaging and bundling products and services together. So back to the ski business, everybody and his brother packaged skis, bindings, and poles. Everybody
Mhm.
did that. And bundling and packaging is perception of value. That's why you
Yeah.
do it, and that's why it's compelling. But what we did also, and no one still does it to this day, I don't understand it. But what we also did is we took the most popular ski graphics and we went to the clothing department and packaged and bundled a hat, sweater, parker, and bib for one price.
Mm.
So we had clothing packages as well as ski packages, and the clothing packages were appealing because they matched the most popular
Yes,
ski
yeah.
graphics.
Right.
And then finally, number five, probably one of the most important ones and most difficult to do, is being indifferent and disconnected to the outcome.
Right.
Many salespeople are too connected to the outcome. When you're connected to the outcome, it becomes a transaction.
Mhm.
You need to be transformational, not transactional.
Mhm.
And so
Absolutely.
you need to be disconnected to the outcome. And so those are the five. Urgency, scarcity is one. Risk reversal, adding more value to your product or service, packaging and bundling, and disconnected or indifference, as I call it, to the outcome.
Yeah, no, those are great and also logical and they make sense. And going back to your four-step conversion
Yeah,
formula. So let's face it, Michael, captivating in today's world is hard, right? It's
sure.
hard because people are distracted. There's so much noise out there. Um, so how do you break through that and be captivating?
Here's how. Every industry, now take it from an industry perspective,
Yeah.
has a perception. And there are certain perceptions that are unfavorable
Hmm.
to the customer. In your particular, or not your particular instance, but in the particular industry of your listeners, if they identify the problem that the people have with the industry or the perception of the industry, more
Yeah.
accurately, then they have a unique solution. That's all they need to differentiate themselves and make price irrelevant.
Right.
Because if you can solve the problem that the customer has, And like we did when we were in the ski business, right? I
Mhm.
gave it, and when we were in the cookie dough business, we solved problems that the customer had with the industry, with with primarily the industry. It wasn't with us; it
Yeah.
was with the industry. Then and you offer a unique solution. That is where you can. That's where you break through on the price discrepancy.
Yeah.
Price,
And
competing on price.
yeah, and then on the fascination part as well, when
Yep.
you're there is, and you're correct, is a lot of the times it's perception, right? And perception is what you need to fight against. And there's a lot of industries today where the consumer or the buyer perception is that these are all commoditized, right? So
Absolutely.
at that part, when you're creating your solution or you're fascinating them, you have to break you have to break through that idea that this is just a commodity that you can buy anywhere.
Well, remember, it's a solution. The fascinate is a solution to the problem.
Hmm.
So if you can come up with that unique solution, you'll get into the mind of the prospect because that's the problem that they've been having with the industry.
Hmm.
And that's the perceived problem that they're having. And you can solve that problem. And by the way, it could be multiple problems. It doesn't have to be
Sure.
just one.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be the winner because you're getting into their mind. You're solving a problem that they have that no one else can solve in the way that you solve it. No one else. It was unbelievable, John.
Mhm.
Nobody copied us, which I
Right.
thought is weird. Maybe I think it's weird, and I think it's unusual. So,
Right.
but it worked like a charm. It was a guarantee that they could that they were going to get the right ski, and it was
Mhm.
uh, absolute awesome thing to get a convection oven for a baker to get a
Sure.
convection oven. It's like a
No,
kid in a candy store.
absolutely. And then when it comes to the education part, right, you have to, at that stage, you have to have, and this goes through your other phases as well. At this stage, you have to build some trust. You have to have some investment on the part of the prospect, right? Because they have to be open to being educated. And
Well, here's the
unfortunately,
thing. Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
no, but here's the key about educating. The captivate and the fascinate gets in the mind of the prospect, and now you have a little bit more time to educate.
Hmm.
Because they're captivated and fascinated, you have more time to educate because they're with you now.
Right.
You see, it's not like a 1, 2, 3 gone.
Sure, sure,
It's
sure.
you're solving a problem. That's the solution. Oh, how do you do that?
Hmm. And then, and tell me, why do some people still struggle with the close piece?
Mostly because of a lack of indifference to the outcome.
Hmm.
When you're indifferent, see, remember what I said too. Everybody is in transactional mode.
Yeah.
It's a transaction. You need to be transformational, and you need to address those transformational components of what you do, what you sell.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. And so therefore, I mean, all of this, obviously, it all starts from the beginning and runs through, but they do. Um, so if you get to the close part and that's where you're having difficulty, it really means that the other three pieces haven't been done properly.
Uh, Not necessarily, because your offer is not compelling. In
Hmm.
other words, I can have problem, solution, educate, 10% off. That's my offer.
Right, right, right. Yeah. So there is an art in itself to making that part compelling.
That's the key, right? If that,
And
you gotta,
and we're kind of like we're kind of like pre-programmed for discounting, and so discounting is not that compelling, right?
right? Not at all, not at all. And you know, sometimes my clients get away with solving a problem and then doing a discount. Okay,
Hmm.
sometimes,
Yeah,
but when they make the offer more compelling with a risk reversal,
yeah,
with with a scarcity and urgency, with and by the way, you can incorporate one or more of those components at the same time. That's what's beautiful about it. Or if they add more value to the product, you can't say no.
hmm, yeah. And I mean, I think that's the thing, is the adding more value, and however you do that, I think that's the thing that oftentimes people do struggle with, because it's not, because sometimes they equate value as throwing in something extra. Now, when you did the convection oven, yes, you were giving something extra, but that wasn't the value of it. Was the fact that you're just giving them a free extra thing. You were
Right.
solving you were giving them something to solve the issue of them adopting the core solution.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's right. It's
Yeah,
absolutely right.
and that's something I think that some people struggle with, because they think if I just throw in a bunch of extra things, that should be compelling. But the fact in those extra things maybe not things you particularly care about.
That's right, John. And one more thing, remember, I have to understand the long-term value of a customer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have done what I did in a million years.
Hmm. And I think that's the issue, Michael, isn't it? And I think sometimes, for all the data we have available to us today, and all the things that people talk about, and all the books and everything, is that people often really just don't have a good handle on who their ideal customer is, down to a very granular level, what the long-term value of a customer is, the different, the different types of customers, and how they will, how what their behavior will be over time. I don't think we know enough about our customers.
I think that's a great point, John. I see that all the time. We don't know our numbers, first of all.
Hmm.
And that's, the long-term value of a customer is a number,
Yeah.
you know, and that I think when you don't understand that, you use the other logic, which is, okay, I'm going to get $50. It's costing me 200. Forget it.
Right. Right.
What a goofball. What a nut.
Yeah. But if that $50 was going to turn into $2,000 over the
Right.
next
The
few years,
long-term value of a customer in my cookie dough business was 5,000.
right there you go. So,
And you have to believe in your product, John. If you don't
right.
believe in your product, it won't go either. It won't work.
Yeah. Well, I think that's another really important thing that you just highlighted there, Michael, is like a lot of people could do this, or could attempt to do this, but if they don't come across, if they don't really believe in what they're doing, then it's never going to convince me. And I think that's a problem I see all the time now, is where, people contact me to try and sell me things. And hey, listen, if somebody's really enthusiastic and really believes in their product, I will listen to them, even if I'm even if I'm not in the market for that thing. Like, I'll probably hear them through and listen to them, just because I'm fascinated by their enthusiasm. If, on the other hand, it may be something really interesting, but the person doesn't sound that interested in it, so why should I be?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all part of it. And, people they're not indifferent, they don't believe in their product, they're not enthusiastic. All these things add up to disaster.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, and then, like you said, understanding the numbers, understanding, the long term value
Yeah.
of your customers, and when you've worked with your clients, Michael, how have you seen it change when they start to adopt your strategies?
Well, first of all, they understand what their financial statements are telling them, because I'm a fractional CFO and
Mm.
strategic implementer.
Right.
So I attack it from both ends. I make sure they know and understand what the financial statements are telling them. We also do a lot of forecasting.
Right.
What that does is that helps you understand the ramifications and outcome of your decision before you make it. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of forward-looking analysis that they're able to use, and then we go into the strategic. Now that you know your numbers, the strategy sounds a little easier. Not that it's easy, but that it's a little easier to
Yeah.
understand. And when I say the long-term value of a customer, a client won't look at me cross-eyed.
Right, 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 right. And it's interesting you mentioned forecasting there, because it seems that that's another area that's people just struggle with mightily today. Like, most people's forecasts are normally way off. It's one of the number one complaints, is that they can't get anywhere close to accurate forecasting.
Yeah, we're fairly conservative with our forecasting. We certainly don't give the business owner any visions of
Mhm.
grandeur.
Right.
We look at it, if that forecast shows up, a professional forecast is a balance sheet, P&L, and cash flow. If
Hmm.
that cash flow is turning negative, let's say 5 months from now, we're talking about how we're going to finance that, whether or what we're going to do operationally to increase the profit to avoid it.
Yep.
So we don't have the kind of forecast that get venture money. Put it that
Right.
way. We could do it. We could once upon a time we could do that. but we don't do that when
Mhm.
we're working with clients.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the point is like accurate forecasting. I mean, you can fool yourself if you want.
Oh,
And also, let's face it, I mean, you can do spreadsheet exercises till the cows come home and you can make the numbers come out any way you want.
right.
The reality is like at the end of the day is how close, if you look back and last year, the year before, the last six, how close to your forecasts are you?
That's right. Yeah, no, and what we've experienced with our customers is we're about a plus or minus 10 to 15% off at the most.
Yeah, which is
And yeah, so and that's when we have a bad year of forecasting, or an unpredictable year, if you will. But we do rolling forecasts, so we
Mhm.
update it every month.
Sure.
So it's updated and it's fresh, and anything new that happens, we account for
Yeah, well, I'd say a lot of people had killed for 10 to 15% swings because I've heard them
it.
being they've been much bigger and much higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, Michael, this has been great. All of Michael's information is going to be below this video. But before we go, please do tell people a little bit more about you and what you do.
Okay, so I am a fractional CFO and strategic implementation specialist. And what our website is nextstepcfo.net. My book is free on my website called Powerful Business Strategies. And also, we do book interviews. We like
Mm,
to interview business owners to keep our strategies updated.
okay.
So if anybody would like to do a book interview, it's 60 minutes on Zoom. I present strategies from the book. And I ask you, the question I ask is, if this strategy was implemented in your industry, what kind of impact would it have? And then I
Mm.
document it for the book. That's it. It's 60 minutes on Zoom. That's it.
No, it's perfect.
And
Great offer.
yeah, and it's the strategies that are in the book. The conversion formula is certainly one of them.
Yeah.
The five components of a compelling offer is certainly another. So that's what we do. We love to interview you because you know business is always changing. You know, uh,
Mhm.
a year ago we didn't know what tariffs were.
Right.
They are.
Seems a lot of people still don't, but that's okay.
Yeah, right.
Or they're getting them confused, but that's okay.
Right, right. So that's us. That's about
Mm.
us.
Excellent. Well, listen, thanks again, Michael. Thank you for watching and listening, and I will see you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.